This episode of Traveling Kansas is made possible in part through the generous support of these sponsors: Smith County Convention and Visitors Bureau, Jewell County Community Development and Mankato Chamber of Commerce, Republic County Economic Development, Applequist Manufacturing Incorporated, made in rural America, Smith Center, Kansas, Renke Manufacturing Company Incorporated, Deschler, Nebraska, and Belleville, Kansas, Bonert Welding, LLC, and Pioneer Seed Representative of Jewell, Cunningham Telephone and Cable, serving North Central Kansas, Belleville Dairy Queen, Foxy Fines of Smith Center, Darrell Miller, Attorney, and Gail Miller, Title Insurance of Mankato, Nutrient Ag Solutions of Beloit, Cortland, and Smith Center, Smith Center Economic Development Department, State Exchange Bank, Mankato, member FDIC, Warren Real Estate, serving North Central Kansas and South Central Nebraska.
Hi, I'm Marcy Penner, co-director of the Kansas Sampler Foundation, and I'd like to invite you to come to the 2023 Big Kansas Road Trip, May 4 to 7, in the counties in North Central Kansas of Jewell, Smith, and Republic counties. It's like a tri-county open house where you choose your own schedule. You can do whatever you want at whatever time you want, but the locals will be ready for you, and they're anxious to meet all of you and have a great time. So though you decide where you want to go at what time, we have some handy helps for you. You can go to bigkansasroadtrip.com and see attractions, events, shopping places, restaurants, locally owned in all three counties. The Big Kansas Road Trip started after we ended a 27-year run of the Kansas Sampler Festival. This is a project of the Kansas Sampler Foundation, and the whole purpose is just to educate Kansans about Kansas, to help everyone get to know these towns and what they're all about.
Atop the beautiful Harlan Hill, 9.5 miles south of Smith Center, stands an 8'4" replica of Lady Liberty. It is one of 26 in the state of Kansas, and one of 200 manufactured in 1950 for the Boy Scouts of America. Immigrant Chris Kalbfleisch donated a statue to the Harlan Boy Scouts as a gesture of appreciation for his new country. The roadside park affords an impressive 360-degree view. On the bank of the West Beaver Creek in 1871, Dr. Brewster Higley wrote a poem titled My Western Home to describe the beauty of the site he had chosen for his Kansas homestead. A year later, Dan Kelly and John Harlan would help set the words to music, adapting the text to the now familiar state song of Kansas, Home on the Range. A nature trail with interpretive signage surrounds the 150-year-old refurbished cabin, appointed in the way that it might have been in its time. Cap off your visit by singing a few bars of Home on the Range. On the western side of Kensington is an unusual collection of wedding gowns that spans the decades of the 20th century.
I have a collection of vintage wedding dresses. I started this collection probably 40 years ago. My building is divided up into decades, starting with the 1900s, and it goes through 100 years up until 2000. And I probably have probably over 125 dresses here.
Viewings are available during the Big Kansas Road Trip or by appointment. On East 3rd Street, the first several blocks of homes were known as Millionaire's Row in the early days of Smith Center. Enjoy a drive by these historical homes. Additional historic architecture is represented in the downtown business district and the Smith County Courthouse, which features a moving tribute to veterans of World War I and II, Korea, and Vietnam. Small downtowns still play host to retail stores. Gifts and fresh flowers can be found at several stores, such as Bloom's or the Twisted Petal, and seasonal garden materials at In the Garden. Ready Upwear is a recently opened store with shoes, clothing, and gifts in a newly renovated space. Find an antique treasure at Kendallin's on Main, or Foxy Finds in Smith Center, or at Haas's Antiques in Lebanon. Homemade jewelry can be found in Athol at the Cedar Lane Cottage Studio. Visitors to Smith County can play, picnic, and explore nature at parks in Athol, Gaylord, Harlan, Kensington, and Lebanon. Many parks incorporate veterans' memorials or historical artifacts into their design, such as the Old Dutch Mill in Smith Center. Most of the mill has been built to replicate the original built by Charles Schwartz near Reamsville in the late 1870s. The original mill used wind power to grind corn and wheat. For a vintage 1950s diner experience, Jiffy Burger on US 36 in Smith Center offers eat-in dining and a walk-up window. Other dining options in Smith Center include the Two Cup Cafe, Pooch's Bar and Grill, Las Canteras Mexican Grill, and Pete's Barbecue. Tavern on the Creek has casual food in a rural dining location, and the Rusty Tractor serves up meals in Kensington. Lebanon proudly proclaims to be at the center of it all. 2 miles north of U.S. Highway 36 along U.S. Highway 281, Lebanon is a town committed to its future. Caden and Emily Roush purchased Ladau's Market, a full-service grocery store, to keep the town alive.
Emily and I are the very proud owners of the Ladau's Market grocery store here in Lebanon. We have owned this market for about a year now. We took it over after a decades-long stint of the Ladau family having owned and operated this store. So our store is not just a grocery store. We actually offer a noon hot meal every day. It became a mission of ours to try to reinvigorate and facilitate life within the community. So when the opportunity came up for this grocery store to change hands, it was something that we strongly believed in. This grocery store is kind of the heartbeat of this community. Rural towns aren't dying, that there's people out here that believe in them.
Downtown Lebanon offers visitors a relaxing seat in Harmony Park and a look at the preserved old Lebanon Jail. Learn about the jail, the early days of the town, and read an account of a visit by the notorious James Younger gang inside of the visitor center. Just south of the park, this lovingly restored Depression-era gas station also houses tourism information and is a nice pit stop on the way to your next destination. Did you know that the center of the contiguous 48 states can be found in Smith County, Kansas? Located 1 mile north of Lebanon on US 281 and 1 mile west on Kansas Highway 191, a limestone pedestal with a plaque and a flagpole marks the exact spot. A small chapel and park envelope the site, which is open during daylight hours. Travelers from all over the world stop at the park all throughout the year. For explorers planning trips later in the year, Smith County offers some annual festivals that bring people together for fun and celebration. Motorcycle enthusiasts from all over the country participate in the annual Smack Dab Run, an intensive dawn to dusk 675-mile ride along U.S. Highway 281 that departs from the center of the contiguous United States outside of Lebanon and concludes at the geographical center of North America in Rugby, North Dakota. The annual Smack Dab Run is held on the summer solstice, the longest day of the year. The Lebanon Bash is held annually on the second weekend of September, which includes live music, food, and activities for families of all ages. Runners can participate in the Race to the Center Half Marathon that concludes at the center of the continental United States. Old Settlers Days is celebrated in Smith Center on the fourth weekend of September. The weekend includes a parade, a fun run, games for the kids, a cornhole tournament, music, and a beer garden. Jewell County is home to creative spirits. One such can be found in Esben, Kansas. In the historic Esben Community Church, there is a newer stained glass window commissioned by church organist and pianist Janet Criley. In 2016, local stained glass artist Charlie Fisher and multimedia artist J.D. Escabel undertook Janet's request to design and create 5 window panes that depict various Christian themes. Escabel drew the design freehand.
Every summer and winter solstice, the light would just shine in here and just blind the people at the front of the church. And I play the piano, so I'd sit over there and look at this, and I just started dreaming how beautiful stained glass could be. So the artist that drew the pictures and Charlie and I worked together to coordinate what you see here. I'm just totally amazed at the work the 2 artists did. Wow, it's just a blessing to the church and the community.
The stained glass art can be appreciated on Sunday mornings and during designated hours during the Big Kansas Road Trip. As one enters Mankato from U.S. Highway 36, be on the lookout for decorative murals, which offer colorful ways to learn about the history of the region. Callum McNichol's Ad Astra, an adaptation of a Pawnee warrior, is an example. Mankato was visited by Los Angeles YouTube stars Yes Theory, who disproved the notion that Mankato was the most boring town in America. Mankato's warm welcome and impromptu party brought the town's generosity and community spirit to a worldwide stage of over 8 million YouTube viewers since 2019. For travelers seeking opportunities to connect with nature, Jewell County offers many options that are linked to water. Many canals scattered throughout Jewell and Republic County are part of the Kansas-Bostwick Irrigation District Canal and Lateral System, part of the 1931 Bureau of Reclamation, Flood Control, and Irrigation Project. Mogg Memorial Park in Jewell is a hub of community activity and a place for little travelers to go out and play. Visit the farmers market on Saturday mornings from Memorial Day through Labor Day. Lake Emerson, west of Kansas Highway 14 in Jewell, offers scenic walking trails, shelters, kayaking, camping, fishing, and playground space. Jewell County State Park and Lake is a short drive west of Jewell. Travelers can take advantage of camping facilities at the state parks or discover the growing number of Airbnb listings available in north central Kansas. Lovewell Reservoir and State Park, north and east of Mankato, welcomes over 300,000 visitors every year. Lovewell has become famous for the large amount of mammoth bones discovered during archaeological excavations. The park delights campers, anglers, and boaters of all ages. To learn more about the mammoths and see their remains, check out the collection of Columbian mammoth artifacts at the Jewell County Historical Museum in downtown Mankato. In 2021, the new Mammoth Capital of the Great Plains exhibit and museum renovations were made possible in part through grant funding by the Dane G. Hansen Foundation and the Kansas Attraction Development Grant Program.
My name's Kyra Lampy, and I'm the coordinator for Jewell County Community Development and Jewell County Community Foundation. And this piece right here is a prefabricated model of what a Columbian mammoth would have looked like, what an adult would have looked like, but it is the size of a baby because we had to scale it down because an adult skeleton would not fit in our museum. And something we always try to make people aware of is that when people think of mammoths, they think of the woolly mammoth, they think of Ice Age, and that's not what was here in Jewell County. We actually had Columbian mammoths, which were a descendant of the woolly mammoth and also at the steppe mammoth. And what makes them unique is that they were more rare and they were also larger than woolly mammoths, if you can imagine that. And so they really liked savannas, and so that's why they think that Jewell County and the Great Plains were a really popular place for the mammoth. And so we're really excited that we can kind of claim this as part of our history because it's neat, it's unique, and not a lot of people can say that they have that. And so we're really proud of it, and we're really proud of what we've done with the museum.
A short distance from the museum, the historic Jewell County Jail can be explored by visitors during daylight hours. The renowned architect of the Kansas state capitol, J.C. Holland, designed the jail and the sheriff's residence of native limestone. Built in 1899, the building was in use for approximately 80 years and is on the National and State Register of Historic Places. While exploring towns in Jewell County, one can see how older properties are being reclaimed for private residences and repurposed for new businesses, such as the home north of Nothin' Fancy Bakery, just north of downtown Mankato. Take a drive along the streets to journey back in time, and you'll discover a variety of places off the beaten path to enjoy some specialty retail shopping, a meal, or a snack. The owners of Burr Oak's Great Expectations have won awards for their barbecue. The town of Formoso serves up home cooking at The Barn, and burgers and beer are offered at The Shed in Ionia. In downtown Mankato, shoppers can savor a specialty coffee at Possibilities, or grab some American or Mexican favorites at Bob's of Mankato. Along US 36, the Buffalo Rome Steakhouse offers a hometown family dining atmosphere on the east side of Mankato. A little further west, Sweet and Cream features an award-winning employee-developed menu.
Hi, I'm Carla Fleming, and we're in Mankato, Kansas, and we're at the Sweet and Cream. We're located on Highway 36. Early on, when the business was established, it was actually a service station. And in the 40s or 50s, it was converted into a restaurant. We have future plans to keep expanding our businesses to provide more services to our community and provide a better atmosphere for the town when people come to visit.
If you're in the mood for a little exercise or want to explore Mankato or Belleville on two wheels, you can rent a bicycle at the CanCycle bike sharing bicycle racks. CanCycle is a rural bike sharing program serving north central Kansas. The friendliness of Cuba lives on in the people who welcome visitors and former residents to events such as their annual Rock-A-Thon fundraiser in the Cuba Community Hall. The Rock-A-Thon has been held for over 45 years during the third week of March. It started as a friendly competition to see who could keep a rocking chair going the longest. It has become a multi-day celebration featuring homemade food, Czech heritage, music, special guests, and homecomings for families and friends. The proceeds of the events fund civic projects and renovations.
Hi, welcome to Cuba, Kansas. I'm Tom Lashowski. And this morning we're standing here in the Cuba Heritage Center. This is a new museum that we built about 2 years ago, and we built it originally to represent the doctor's office of our small town Dr. McClaskey, who was our doctor for over 50 years here in town. We were able to obtain some grants, and through our local booster club and some volunteer work, we built a new museum to honor him and our Czech heritage here in town.
Of special interest is gymnastic equipment used a century ago by people involved in Sokol organizations. Sokol was an athletic and fraternal organization founded in Czechoslovakia in the mid-1800s as a way to train bodies and minds and to encourage patriotism. The Sokol organizations and traditions continued amongst the new Americans in the early 20th century. Visitors to Cuba can browse for treasures at Cuba Antiques, pick up necessities at the Cuba Cash Store, enjoy a meal at Betty's Cafe, and even take in a demonstration at the renovated historic blacksmith shop.
It was originally built in 1884 at the same time that Cuba moved here to its present location. The building again had been out of business for quite a few years. The rock walls had deteriorated, the roof was gone. It was in really bad shape. One of the guys that used to live here, and his dad was a blacksmith, thought, It'd be a great project. We have, with the original forge, some of the original equipment. We have special demonstrations for things like our Rock-A-Thon and our Harvest Festival, and just a time for people to come back and step back 100 years.
Cuba's history has been beautifully captured in sculpture by artist Glenn Loika and by National Geographic photographer Jim Richardson, who has photographed Cuba residents for 40 years. Richardson's photographs are integrated throughout the town. Kopsa National Bohemian Cemetery is located 2 miles south of US 36 and about a mile east of Cuba. In years past, Czechs were denied burial in some cemeteries, so this cemetery serves as a place for Czech immigrants and descendants to be buried without regard to religion. Cortland, Kansas has an influx of creative energy inspiring its business community. Irrigation Ales in Cortland is a brewery with a very unique sense of place in the Republican River Basin. Drawing upon both personal experience with and historical inspiration from the Bostwick Irrigation District, brewers Luke and Jennifer Mahin feature 8 taps of handcrafted beers, homemade root beer, and an assortment of Kansas-made beverages. Look carefully and you'll see a vintage gas station that has been renovated into a pottery studio and boutique. Soul Sister Ceramics features handmade jewelry, home decor, and Kansas-made gifts. Across the street, browse the antiques and enjoy refreshments at Antique's, whose name embraces the common mispronunciation. There are more surprises in Cortland, including the Cantina, an expanded convenience store serving sandwiches and pre-cooked meals to go. Audrey's Family Restaurant features a creative menu along with burgers, pizza, and a full bar. The Depot Market offers homegrown seasonal produce and a variety of specialty food products in the refurbished Santa Fe Depot. Scenic photo opportunities can be found south of Cortland. You'll discover photographic murals and beautiful country churches such as Ada Lutheran Church. Ada's cemetery includes an anchor as a grave marker of Merchant Marine S.A. Hagman, who lived from 1842 to 1930. On the north side of Jamestown Wildlife Area, the entrance to the Snow Goose Lodge is over a covered clock bridge that looks historic but is a modern build. Jim Elliott designed the Western Red Cedar Bridge in 2008, completing it in 2012. It is believed to be the only covered bridge in the state of Kansas. Agenda Kansas is a great place to put on your shopping agenda. Glenda Treechek, with the help of her husband Millard and friends, has renovated 4 different buildings to create a shopping destination featuring upscale fashions and home and garden decor. An old-fashioned soda fountain named Hope Floats and a garden space offer a lovely place to have a sandwich or treat, and spaces available for one-of-a-kind celebrations. If you're on the hunt for murals or large-scale art, swing through Scandia on U.S. Highway 36 east of Belleville. A colorful tile mural depicting bridges and roads can be seen above the entrance of the Reese Construction Company. In the northern reaches of Republic County, travelers can fill up the car and their bellies at Republic Oil and Rip City Inn, respectively. The cafe is known for its good home cooking, Kansas beef, and their salad bar. At the Pawnee Indian Museum State Historic Site, one can discover the story of a Pawnee village that existed in the late 1700s and view the floor of a large Pawnee earth lodge left intact from an archaeological investigation. Here, visitors can learn more about the people of the Pawnee Nation and their stories. Details about exhibits and hours can be found at www.kshs.org. Racing has a long and celebrated history in Belleville, Kansas. Belleville High Banks Racetrack is known as the fastest half-mile dirt track in the world. It began in 1880 as a horse racing track and in 1910 began to be used for automobile racing. The racing season transforms the town of about 2,000 people to 20,000 and has given a start to the careers of famed drivers such as Clint Boyer, Jeff Gordon, and Tony Stewart. Racing events are held May through September, highlighted by the Sprint Car Nationals during the first week of August. The Belleville High Banks Hall of Fame and National Midget Racing Museum preserves the history of the track, the racers, and a variety of cars that have thrilled generations of fans. RV camping is especially popular in Belleville, not only for racetrack visitors, but also for tourists from all over the country. RV camping is available at the Rock-A-Thon recreation area on the east side of town, or people can stay in a specialty-themed cabin at the Cabins at Rocky Pond. Long a favorite local park, Rocky Pond originally served as a source of ice and water for the Rock Island Railroad line.
Hi, my name is Lynette Beam of the Feathered Nest here in Belleville, Kansas. On behalf of the merchants of downtown Belleville, I welcome you to Belleville. Come explore what we have to offer. We have some great businesses, restaurants. You won't regret it.
Venturing into downtown Belleville, dining destination Northside Pizza and More features wood-fired pizza, salads, and sandwich bowls, and an array of craft beers and fizz drinks. Check out the Spanish colonial facade of the Blair Theater, or challenge your friends to a game of bowling at Tuxie's 10-Pin. In downtown Belleville, one can experience a store more commonly encountered in a much larger urban area, the Feathered Nest. The preserved historic building is feathered with modern interior and outdoor design accessories for the home. Amongst the displays of gift items and home decor, a coffee lounge offers hot and cold drinks and baked goods.
So come see these counties, Jewell, Republic, and Smith, May 4 to 7, and have a great time just seeing these towns as they are. That's all we ask them to be, and they will do that in beautiful fashion. We'll see you on the road. Bye.
This episode of Traveling Kansas is made possible in part through the generous support of these sponsors: Smith County Convention and Visitors Bureau, Jewell County Community Development and Mankato Chamber of Commerce, Republic County Economic Development, Applequist Manufacturing Incorporated, made in rural America, Smith Center, Kansas, Renke Manufacturing Company Incorporated, Deschler, Nebraska, and Belleville, Kansas, Bonert Welding, LLC, and Pioneer Seed Representative of Jewell, Cunningham Telephone and Cable, serving North Central Kansas, Belleville Dairy Queen, Foxy Fines of Smith Center, Darrell Miller, attorney, and Gail Miller, title insurance of Mankato, Nutrient Ag Solutions of Beloit, Cortland, and Smith Center, Smith Center Economic Development Department, State Exchange Bank, Mankato, member FDIC, Warren Real Estate, serving North Central Kansas and South Central Nebraska.